It looks like everybody is absolutely loving the Assetto Corsa tech demo, the physics, the force feedback. In fact, just about everything about it is almost perfect and a complete jump from what we're all used to with the some other simulators. I won't say any names. Kunos have yet to slip any details of how the multiplayer will work, and in fact have been very secretive about what will be in the final game, apart from a couple of screenshots and some vague details. But really, we don't know what we're going to get. I assume it's going to be bloody good, like the rest of Kunos' products and the tech demo, but who knows? So, given that there's not much to go on, I thought now would be the perfect opportunity to talk about something that I would love to see in driving simulators, something that I believe has been lacking from simulators, and that is the player list and times screen. The player list and time screen. The screen that shows the player's times and other details. I realise that's might not seem like the most important. It's not the be all and end all of a driving simulator. But let's face it, we like to see how we compare to others, and if there's any way that we can make excuses up as to why everyone else is faster than us. So without further ado, I present to you the Gamer Muscle Assetto Corsa score and timesheet. Now, I realise this is mind-blowing. What you can see is just it's blowing your mind. Okay, it isn't. It's just a timesheet. But outside the basic features that you expect to see on the scoreboard timesheet, I don't even know what you call it. I just call it the end of round timesheet. Outside of the basic times, there's a couple of things that I would love to see. The main ones being each user's best lap, personal best for the track that the server is on. Now this lets you just see, you know, are they on form? Are they beating their own lap? You can see if you're beating your personal best. Obviously you'd want a little prompt in the game as well, but it's nice having it on an overall scoreboard, and also being able to compare your best lap with other people's best lap. It's just nice to have it there in a clear place. Secondly, an icon for what method of control the user is playing the game with. Now, the thing with the Assetto Corsa is it's absolutely bloody amazing. We all know that. But the physics are unparalleled. But the other good thing is it's open to more casual players, and as a result, especially as it's going to get green lighted on Steam, there's going to be loads of people playing with the basic input of a keyboard or a joypad. And as someone that takes their sim racing probably too seriously, I really want to know if I'm racing against people that are using steering wheels or basic inputs, partly so I can avoid them driving into me, but also so that if you are in a more public server, which are likely to be the ones that have more players in, you'll then be able to see if it's justified that they're using assists, or, you know, forgive them for bad laps, or, you know, maybe encourage them to throw some money down on a force feedback wheel. And that brings me to point 3. Icons for each aid that the user has activated. So in my little scoreboard mock-up, which is not particularly well done, the icons take up the whole screen. Obviously someone could probably do something that's a bit tidier, but the main point of it is just so that other players can see what assists other users are using. Again, the more popular servers are likely to be ones that have all the options open, and for me, being incredibly insecure, like probably a lot of sim racers, when someone beats me, I want to know that they beat me using assists and not because they were actually better than me, or I might have to smash my computer up. So being able to see if they've got the assists on, again, goes with the controls. I'll forgive the person that's playing with a keyboard, doing slow laps and it's got assists on. But if someone beats me when they're using a steering wheel, or someone does a faster lap, it's not all about beating people. Well, it is. If someone does a better lap and they've got assists on, then first of all, everyone can laugh at them because they had to use assists to do the best time. Well, that's about it really. But it's just really being sensible now. It's really just about transparency of being able to see what people are doing. Maybe someone is decent and you want to just help them out, and say, look, you can turn the assists off, it'll actually be better for you. You'll actually get more enjoyment out of it. Look, you're using a steering wheel, you've got all these assists on. Look, you're missing out on the incredible physics of how the cars handle on the limit by having all this traction control on. That sort of thing would be really nice. Number 4, having an honour system. This will be a system that allows other users to give each player in the game a vote up or a vote down, depending on how sporting that user is. Now, obviously, this sort of thing is completely open to abuse. So, I've set some limitations on this. This has been incredibly well thought out, not just completely hashed out in 5 minutes. So the way it would work is that each player can give each other player 1 point only, either an upvote or a downvote. That's not dependent on the server, that's like globally. So I can, if I see that one person, I can choose to either say, yeah, you're good, so you get 1 point off me, or you crash into everyone, you're a hazard, get off the track, in which case I click a negative on them, and that's it. If I change my mind at a later date, I can click a positive on them and it'll remove the negative and turn it into a positive. So the idea is that, say someone had a bunch of friends, which none of us do, let's face it, we're sat here on the internet playing with a motorised washing machine motor on a force feedback device, pretending to drive cars we can't afford. But so say you did have, hypothetically, lots of friends. Most people aren't going to have more than 60 friends. Of course, I have thousands, but most people won't have more than 60. So that the votes that they can get by trying to game it with friends is going to be negligible to if they start crashing people in a server and there's 20 people in that server. People aren't going to be happy with them and they're going to start downvoting them. Or if you're abusive on chat, or if you're just an outright gimboid, then people will just will give you a vote down. And unless you prove otherwise, that's how it's going to stay. So it just gives you like a basic metric, as you can see on the little mock-up, that people will have a positive or negative score. And from that, when you do get people crashing or when there's no admin, people will be able to go, look, this guy just crashed me. Other people will look at this score sheet and they'll go, oh, look, he's a complete nonce. Okay, kick, voted, goodbye. On the other occasion, there'll be someone that accidentally crashes someone that does a complete mess up a couple of times, and the temptation might be to vote them off, but people will go on the score and check and they'll be like, oh yeah, look, you got a couple of negatives, but for the most part we can see you're actually quite a clean racer, so we'll let it go until they start being really bad, and then we'll execute them. But that's the general point of it. It's not the be all and end all of everything. It'd just be like a general basic metric for you to look at a player to see how sportsmanlike they are. Point number 5 would be to have some kind of point system that gives out points based on where people tend to finish in races. Again, this would have to be set up in a very specific way. And of course, I've thought about this incredibly deeply and not just spent 2 minutes knocking out a basic idea. What I would probably do is having points given out from, say, if you finish a race, you get 1 point, and then from P6 to P4, you get 2 points. Third place would get 3 points, second place would get 5 points, and first place would get 10 points. Now, what's the point? The point, see what I did there? I didn't do it on purpose. That's not even funny. Say, the point of this is that people that tend to win races will accumulate points really fast, and the people that don't win races won't. And so you'll start to get a big disparity in points between people that are successful and people that aren't. Now, it's not all about, oh, I've got more score than you, or I'm better. The point is, it's more of an experience rating than a score, and it kind of goes hand in hand with the previous sporting rep rating. Whereas if you see someone that has some absurdly high score rating, but then they're downvoted massively, it really helps you see who is an arse and who you don't want to drive with. Whereas if you see someone that's got a really high score rating and they've got a really high sportsmanship rating, you can be like, oh, that's a really great person, I'll add them on my Steam friends list, I'll marry them, I want to race with them. So that's the point of that. Again, it's not about points in the classical sense of points. I'm sure some people would take it as a score, which is fine. If they're not crashing people and they want to get the highest score and it's motivation to win the race, then great. It's not doing anything negative. The same with people that will want to just finish the race in the top 6, and so it will probably keep them in the game when they're being crashed and maybe the race is a little bit longer than a couple of laps. It might be enough motivation to make more people want to finish the actual round rather than quitting the server and looking for another server. So yeah, it's not really a score thing. It's more just a general metric to help spot out who's got more experience and who hasn't. And you might even use it on the other side of it, where you have a user that's clearly maybe they're struggling or they're new, and you can see that, you can see they've got a low score and they might have bad times or something, and people might want to help them out. And you do see that a lot in driving simulators, which you don't tend to get in other games, is that if you have someone that's driving sportsmanlike and friendly, but they're messing up some fundamentals like the brake points or just basic things, players generally want to help each other out. They don't want to just shout at each other. There's a certain group of people that do want to shout at each other, but in general, I think people want to actually help each other out at being better sim racers, because it makes the race more enjoyable for everyone. So obviously my mock-up is far from perfect, but those are just a couple of the points that I would love to see in simulators. Not necessarily just in Assetto Corsa. It'd just be great to have them in any simulator. Drop a comment, let me know what you think of them. I'm sure it's deeply flawed, and I'm sure it could be refined. Interestingly, it would be really nice to know if this sort of thing could be implemented as an app, rather than it being something that Kunos have to implement into the core game. Obviously, a rep system and a score system would probably have to be implemented into the core game, and I don't know if Kunos are going to have the back end there, if it's something that they're interested in doing. It's understandable if it's not something they want to do, but at the same time, with Netcar Pro, it's really well integrated into exporting data, and websites or groups like Radiator Springs, I think it's called Radiator Springs, sorry if I got that wrong, maybe they can set something up that takes advantage of this and maybe integrates into their website in some way. I mean, who knows? The app system that Kunos have put into Assetto Corsa is incredible and has massive potential. So, good job, Kunos. That was a bit heartfelt, that, considering it's just a driving simulator. But they've done a good job, and let me know what you think. Subscribe if you want to hear me talk more nonsense, and complain if you hate me. Thank you for listening, predominantly listening, as there wasn't much to watch in this video.